Hi everyone and welcome to Display Repair. Some time ago we made a video about how to diagnose a bad ignition coil on your car and how to replace a bad ignition coil. Well, this time we are making the exact same video. The only difference is that the last time there was an engine misfire on cylinder number 1 and now there is a misfire on cylinder number 3. Also, the big difference will be that we're going to show you how to replace the coil in real time. What does this mean? You're going to see it much like as if you were changing it yourself and what it looks like in real life. So additionally to all of those previous videos, I hope this video will also help and give you a better picture of what you're supposed to do and that the whole job is not that complicated. Again, we're showing this on a Skoda Fabia Mark 1 with the 1.4 liter 16 valve 100 brake horsepower engine, which is a great example for showing the ignition coil problem. Also, the basic principle for replacing the coil is, I think, pretty much the same on almost any petrol engine out there. So stay tuned and I sincerely hope this video helps.
Misfire-P0300.com. Be sure to visit us at our website Misfire-P0300.com, where you can find more useful car and driving tips.
When I wanted to start the car, there was a misfire, and now I'm going to show you what it looks like in a real life situation, so to say. And now we're going to start the engine. And as you can see, the check engine light is blinking. When it blinks like this, this means, at least on the Skoda, that there is a bigger kind of problem and that you should stop the car and inspect the problem as soon as possible. Regarding the misfire, all that you would sense if there is a misfire on your engine is that the engine runs more roughly than usual. You can sense the trembling from the engine, and this is the main way to notice immediately that you have an engine misfire or some kind of other engine problem. And this is what it looks like in the engine bay. I don't know if you can see this on the camera. Instead of the smooth running that this engine normally has, it sort of wobbles in the engine bay and jumps around a bit. So you can best see it here. The engine is trembling and working roughly. We're gonna connect the tool. We've made a separate video on this topic. I'll leave a link so you can see how to use an OBD tool from top to bottom. And we are going to connect the tool. Tool is activated. We are going to turn on the ignition to run, and we're going to go to Diagnosis. We also made a separate video on how to use this tool. Very good OBD tool. I'm going to choose Skoda. The tool is communicating with the car. Always make sure that the ignition is on. And we'll choose automatic detection. Hope the sun doesn't ruin the video. Now, as you can see, it recognized the brand, type, the VIN code, vehicle year, and everything else. Press OK, and after this we'll go for the automatic scan option, and we're gonna leave it to scan. Now, this may take some time, hope you don't mind, but since this is a real-time video, just wanted to see what you may go through when solving this kind of problem. And as you can see, already there is one problem with the engine electronics. There's various dashboard warning lights going on at the same time while the tool is checking the whole system. And the scan is done. And as you can see, we have a P030000 cylinder 3 misfire detected. And there you have the culprit of the problem right there. So there's a misfire on cylinder 3. We also have a P117600, that is the fault code for an O2 sensor. This is also regarding the O2 sensors, also those faults. Now all of these lower faults here can come up because of the cylinder misfire, because exhaust fumes coming from a misfiring engine are bad and the lambda sensor detects that. And now we're going to go and change the ignition coil on cylinder 3. Okay, here we go. First we're going to take off the air box. We have a rubber hose on this side. Going to take off, and then we're going to pull off the air box like this. This and like this. And off goes the air box. Now we're having a misfire on cylinder number 3. That's this cylinder here. So first we're gonna release these cables here. Now releasing these cable guides isn't that necessary, but it will help to get the ignition coil out. This one maybe I don't have to do, but nevertheless I like to pull them all out. Now we're going to try and pull out the ignition coil. I like to use these pliers to grab the ignition coil on the top and try to wiggle it out. The better and more quality option is to have a pry tool for these kinds of jobs. Also, you can, if there's no risk of damaging the surrounding plastic, you can use 2 screwdrivers like this and try to pull the ignition coil out. If you use a lever like this one, always be careful not to damage the connector. In this case, I'm going to use the pliers since there's a better lever. Also, the coil is damaged anyway, so there's no need in preserving it. But if you were to return the coil, in order to avoid scratching or damaging it, you can put some cloth around it. That will make the scratching less. Although in my experience, even if you do this on the bare plastic, the scratch is the only damage. There won't be any other problems. So just put it in there and firmly grab the ignition coil and wiggle. This is a bit of a tough procedure since, there you have it, since I have a new coil here, since the rubber here, this rubber seal here that goes into the sockets down there gets stuck over time. It sort of gets glued to the engine because it's exposed to heat all the time. Pull it out completely. Again, this is why we've taken these plastic cable guides off, so you can pull the ignition coil off. Down here you have a plastic clip. This is typical for Volkswagen cars. Push the clip upwards and try and wiggle the ignition coil off the clip. There you go. It might be a bit more tough. Just be careful not to damage the wiring. Okay, so as you can see, this is the old coil. Has some sort of burning marks here. I've taken off my gloves because of the taking off the electric connector. Now we're going to insert the new coil. It's always good to use some contact spray on this. Not much, don't flood it. Just put some inside of the connector. Now we have we're going to wait for it for a bit to dry. Now we're going to return the ignition coil back into place. In this case, you can first connect it and push it into the socket, or, which is more convenient when returning it, you can first push it into the socket over the spark plug and then return the connector. So we're going to do it like that, and now we're going to return the connector. Now in this case, this is what I'm always saying about replacement parts. You can have a problem like this one where the plug will not sit on the ignition coil properly, so you have to wiggle it a bit for it to sit into place. And now we're going to return it back into place. Now, once this is here, we're going to push this back into place. So press it down all the way. This would be it. It's going to take a bit of a push and a bit of a budge, but that should be fine. Now once you're done, return these plastic guides back into place, like so. Again, be careful. All of this is pretty brittle, to be honest. Okay, that's all back into place. On this part, I must say that I've had a bit of an accident. This connector here broke on me, and this is a good opportunity to show you how all of this plastic is sensitive when working with it. So I pressed it a bit harder with my hand onto the ignition coil. This is the stuff with the aftermarket parts where the connector isn't exactly a 100% fit, so I pushed it and it cracked a bit. Just wanted to show you what can happen when you do these kinds of jobs. Nevertheless, we're going to start the engine. I think this isn't going to be a problem, and I'm going to change this connector when I buy it and perhaps make a video on the whole replacement. Now let's go start the car. Let's see what happens. Car is in neutral, and here we go. We still have the check engine light error on. We're going to raise that with an OBD tool. The check engine light would go away on its own. So I hope you can see this. No more jumping around of the engine. Everything works just fine. Now we're going to return the airbox and take the car for a test drive. We're going to return the airbox back into place. Before we do that, I always put some lithium grease onto these rubber grommets so they sit on easier and they're easier to take off later. Okay, put some on all of them, like so. I always put some here where this rubber for the throttle body sits in, so it doesn't get bent. If it bends, it can cause the check engine light because the throttle body has because the throttle body isn't sealed properly and there's excess air in the system. So everything is fine. And now we put the airbox back into place. We put this rubber hose back on, like so, and just press it into place. So dear viewers, let's take the Skoda for a test drive and see what we've done. So now check engine light. The engine works nicely. Let's put on the seatbelt and drive around a bit. See if everything is okay. I would always recommend that when you do this sort of repair, always take the car for a test drive. You never know if something's wrong and if it has to stop. I have these little holders for my glasses so they don't fall off. So if anything should happen, if you did anything wrong, then the test drive will show it. You know, at least you'll be near home and you can get back to your garage and try to find out the reason. And now we're on the open road. Let's press some pedal to the metal. See what happens. Yep, the acceleration is great. This is how the engine is supposed to work, and this is how much power it's supposed to have. Purrs like a kitten, as they would say. So I think we've solved the problem. So, dear viewers, all in all, the whole repair took us about half an hour in real time. It would take even less if I didn't have the problem with the broken connector. Sorry for the lighting, it's ruining the video, but I hope you at least hear what I'm talking about. So, the problem was the broken connector, which was caused by the replacement part, but nevertheless, it's a good opportunity for you to see what can happen unexpectedly when repairing something. When you're repairing a higher mileage, older car, everything becomes brittle, frail, you know, and you can have unexpected problems. And you should have this in mind when repairing an older car. At the end of this video, I would like to make one point. Changing the ignition coil is a perfect example of a simple thing you can do on the car on your own. And all of this lasted, as I said, half an hour. The alternate scenario to all of this is to take the car to a mechanic, and then the mechanic would say you have to make an appointment. Then you would have to wait till tomorrow. Then you would drive the car. Then you would wait for the mechanic to tell you what's wrong and for some sort of approval. Then you'd have to wait for the mechanic to fix it. All in all, in a best case scenario, you would lose at least 2 days. Besides that, you would probably lose more money. If the mechanic is honest, you would pay for the part and something for the replacement. That wouldn't be much, but it would be more than what I paid in this case. I just paid for the part, and all in all, you would lose at least 2 days, more money. In a worst case scenario, you would lose 3 to 4 days and much more money, depending on what the mechanic would charge you. So my point is, know your car and know at least the basics around your car, around your engine, and your car in general. If you know that, you'll be able to make these simple repairs, do these simple things, and save yourself a ton of time, money, and nerves, to be honest with you. So that's it for this time. I hope this video helps. Please like and subscribe. It's a huge help for what we're doing. If you find the time, watch our other videos. I think you'll find some useful content regarding cars, driving, and other car-related topics. Hopefully, I'll see you in the next video. Thank you very much for watching, and thank you for your time.